So you want to make an avatar world or just add avatars into your world? Well, this is incredibly easy, and we'll be doing this in just a few minutes in this video. We'll also look at a couple of ways we can change how you do it to customize it for your best fit. In general though, this will not be a difficult task. So we are picking up right after our button demo, but these videos are not connected. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to need is something to put the avatar unit on. Now, normally you'll see these on avatar pedestals, which is a prefab object. So we'll start there, as this is the easiest starting point. So we're going to go into our prefabs and just grab any of these avatars pedestals. It doesn't really matter which one. Now that we have our object here, we're going to need to add a couple of things. The first being an avatar pedestal. Make sure you hit add component, then just search for VRC avatar pedestal. We're going to go ahead and assign this placement as our actual object. So it's just going to place it on top of our object here. We do want to change the avatar on use. So maybe if you want to preview something but not have it functional, just leave this blank. But in our case, we want to show how it actually works. Now the third thing, and I think where most people get lost, is this blueprint ID. Well, there's a couple different ways you can find this. Well, really only two, I suppose. The first one is if you have your own avatars. You'd simply go into Control Panel, and under Content Manager, you'll see these copy IDs. Now these are for worlds, but if you scroll down, you'll see an avatar section, and then you can just simply hit copy ID from there. But let's assume maybe you don't have, you didn't upload them yourself, but you still want to use them, or you have a friend who wants to put it in your world. Well, we can still do this relatively easily. What we'll need to do is just go over to VRChat.com. I already have it pulled up for us, and we'll need to go under avatars. Now, again, you'll see my avatars here as well if you have your own, and you can also hit featured avatars. Now these are open for anybody to use, and you can put them in your world if you want to. So we'll just click this one for example, and at the top of the page we'll see this avatar ID here. This is actually the blueprint ID that we're looking for. So we're going to grab that and plug it into our blueprint ID. Now, an important thing to note, and I'll demonstrate it here for us, is that these will not work in play mode. And that is because we are actually making a network call when we're looking for these blueprint IDs. And the play mode is strictly offline. So this will not work. What we have to do is actually do a build and test. Now that we're successfully on an instanced or networked and instanced private lobby, we can see it is actually loading the exact avatar model we expect it to. However, there's one problem. It's still not usable. In order to make it usable, we do need to add one more thing. I think this is the second part people get hung up on. So we're going to add a component again. We're going to add an Udon behavior. If you're following on my guide, you might still be on Udon C# program asset. Make sure you switch to Udon graph program asset. Now we need to go over here into our kind of file explorer, and we need to find our Udon program sources, which if you have trouble finding it, you can just follow this link tree here. So it's under VRChat SDK world, samples, Udon example scene, Udon program sources. And it's going to be our very first script here. So these are Udon behaviors that are prefabs, and we are going to drag that into our Udon behavior script. Now this will open up some more options for us, such as use, proximity, and where you want the text to be. We're going to leave them all as default. Now we're going to go back in and build and test again. If you happen to catch that, I got a weird networking ID error when building test in building after adding my Udon behavior. If you happen to encounter this like I did, which I didn't the first time and I did the second, so you may not, how you fix it is going into your VRChat SDK, Utilities, Network ID, Import and Export Utility, and clear your scene IDs. That should fix the problem. And then we can go right back into build and test, and it should run like this without any errors. Now that we have fixed our networking error and added our Udon behavior, this should now work as intended. So as we can see, I am in my normal avatar that I do test work in. And if we click this, it says outfit changed to cheese, and it worked as expected. Not something I would normally choose, but hey, here we are. Alright, so this is how you get the default pedestal working. Now, if that's all you're looking to do, we can stop right there. That is all you have to do, and you can just duplicate these and keep making them if you wanted to, and just change the blueprint ID. And if you wanted to use a different object, let's say you have a custom FBX you want to use as a pedestal, or maybe just like a square or something like that, you would just put these two scripts on whatever object you are interested in. So the VRC avatar pedestal and the Udon behavior. So the only other thing I think is worth mentioning is you can actually also, let's say we want to do something a little different. You just have to bear with me, I don't have a good verbal explanation for this. So create an empty game object, child it to your pedestal by dragging it over it. This makes it a child object. Then we're going to clear or reset the position, rotation, and scale, and that just essentially puts it back to where our pedestal is. And a quick side note here is when you move a parent object, it actually does move the child object as well. So that's incredibly useful. And let's say we wanted it high or up or something of that nature. So all we'd have to do is change the placement from the pedestal to the game object here. And now when we rebuild this, we can see that the placement is now much higher. So that's one way to kind of customize it a little bit. We can change quite a bit about it. We can change what it's on, where it's placed. It works. So that kind of covers the basics and to some extent the intermediate of avatar pedestals. And that's it. Now you've got a fully working avatar pedestal in your VRChat world, with some optional controls if you want to use them. If you found this helpful, considering dropping a comment, a like, or subscribe, I really appreciate it. We're trying to get monetized on this channel, and alternatively, I do have a Patreon. Now, there's nothing going to be released on my Patreon for this video, as you kind of have to set it up yourself, but I do put all kinds of awesome content on there. Almost none of it is being gatekept, which means if you just follow my YouTube channel videos, you would be able to reproduce anything I put out there. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.